Here to break down the health aspect of this election season, I want to bring on Dr. Luiza Petre, a board-certified cardiologist and nutrition expert. Doctor, thank you very much for joining us. You're here at the right time, actually, because this has been a kind of heated debate as of recently regarding, as we said, President Trump, Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden. So I just want to start by asking this off the top. This is kind of a topic where a lot of times people aren't sure about how people should necessarily diagnose people who they don't see firsthand, or whether or not the voter rather, should know the health records of these different people that are running for president. So what's your whole take on that debate?
Sure, Alex. We are witnessing the oldest field of presidential candidates in history. We have 5 candidates over the age of 70. Sanders, we have Trump, Bloomberg, Biden, Warren. And of course, it's a very legit question. Are these candidates fit for the office? It would be very traumatic for a nation to face replacing a president. But let's look at the history. Heart disease is not new in the White House. President Eisenhower had a heart attack in 1955, and that was medicine 65 years ago. And he got to live through his second term and another 14 years. Also, President Johnson had a heart attack in the same year, 1955, and he lived 18 years more.
So that's really interesting, actually, because, I mean, history kind of shines a light on what we can expect in the future. And as you point out, too, we're in a time where candidates are older right now. I think it's maybe because people are just living longer for the most part. But why do you think that this is becoming more of a hot contested topic, as you were saying? Do you think it is because those candidates are getting older? Do you think it's because this round of candidates is just more unhealthy maybe than previous ones? What is the reason why it's a more hotly talked about topic right now?
First of all, this is definitely a little bit of ageism here, but if you look at the baby boomer, heart disease is a part of this generation. 1 in 3 adults over the age of 70 have a certain degree of heart disease. And as far as we know, except Warren, the rest of the 4, they do have a more or less degree of heart disease. But the reality is, we live in a time and age when medicine is so advanced. 90% of people can survive a heart attack. And I see firsthand as a cardiologist, people surviving 20 to 30 years after bypass surgery or a heart attack. But what is really more important at this point, once the heart disease has been established, is what do they do for secondary prevention to prevent another heart attack? How is their lifestyle? Do they eat healthy? Do they exercise? Are the risk factors controlled, like blood pressure, cholesterol? Do they have healthy weight? And that's what really it's most important, predicting how your health is going to be in the future.
It makes a lot of sense because, of course, I mean, the same way that you and I should be exercising regularly, getting our heart rates up, it seems that a president should be doing the same thing. I get it. They have very busy schedules as well. But, I mean, they're still human beings. And acknowledging that point, there's become a little bit of a debate over releasing medical records. President Trump has, of course, released letters from his physician. Bernie Sanders has released some letters from his physician as well, but not the full medical records that he promised previously. Is there a precedent that has been set regarding the release of medical records, or what presidents have usually done in the past, or is it just kind of an open type of process?
Alex, last time when one presidential candidate disclosed full medical chart was John Kerry, and after that we only had medical letters, and we took them as enough information to provide the truth, and we rely on them. But if we look at Sanders, let's see what heart disease really means. Nowadays, we can stop a heart attack. If one goes to emergency room within 6 hours, we can stop that heart attack. And that's what happened to Sanders. I would say we have enough information right now. I don't think any more medical records, unless it's something completely new, would bring more on the table. And it's election time. Everyone is looking for blood. Knives are out. Age and health are easy topics to target. But at the end, yes, health is important. But let's focus on items that are more relevant and more pertinent to these elections.
No, I think that's an excellent way to put it right there. In fact, it's a way that you won't see that on a lot of cable news, because it's not necessarily the sexy headline where people want to go after each other and say that there's a lack of transparency or really find something very salacious in those medical records. It's kind of interesting to hear that perspective. But Doctor, I really appreciate you coming on tonight and talking about a subject that, quite frankly, I know nothing about. So thank you very much for coming on and giving us your expertise.